On the 17th of July 2015, Tame Impala dropped the follow-up to his acclaimed second album Lonerism, his third studio album Currents. The album cover quickly became iconic, right up there with classics like Dark Side of the Moon or Unknown Pleasures. But what's special is how 10 years later, more and more people keep discovering the album, just like they do old classics like Sgt. Pepper's or OK Computer, and people fall in love with it even more. In this video, I'll be breaking down why Currents has had the staying power that so many modern albums lack, and why so many of us, including me, fell in love with it. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ollie and it is my goal to make music sound better to you. If that's something you're interested in, consider hitting the subscribe button. The music on Currents connects with so many people because it mixes real emotion with sounds that are fun and easy to enjoy. Kevin Parker described the album as a significant shift from his earlier work, moving away from guitar-driven psychedelic rock towards more synth-heavy and danceable sound. In an interview with Time magazine, Parker stated, "I feel like it would be too unnatural to stay with the same sound. A big part of the kind of fulfillment of making music is the feeling that you're treading new terrain." Let It Happen is one of the most impressive songs on Tame Impala's catalogue, and it's easy to see why once you hit play. As the opening track on Currents, it throws you straight into the heart of what the album is all about. From the very beginning, you're pulled into this hypnotic wave of sound with swirling synths, a steady beat, and layers that build and change as the track goes on. It's over 7 minutes long, but it never drags. It keeps evolving and each section feels like you're being taken deeper into the journey. And what makes this song so special is how it's both catchy and experimental. It has a beat you can move to, but it's also full of surprises, like the glitchy loop section where it sounds like the track is skipping over and over again. You think that would be annoying, but it's actually kind of genius. It creates this strange, immersive moment where you feel stuck in time, which totally matches the idea of letting go and surrendering to whatever comes next. Lyrically, the song is all about giving up control and accepting change. If you've ever felt like life was shifting in ways you couldn't control, this song feels like someone saying, "It's okay, just let it happen." The lyrics don't try to overcomplicate things. They speak directly to that part of you that's anxious about moving on, growing up, or leaving someone behind. And what's brilliant is that the music does the same thing. It doesn't stick to one structure, it flows freely, kind of like your own thoughts when you're trying to figure things out. As an opener, Let It Happen does everything right. It pulls you in, it sets a mood, and prepares you for the emotional ride of Currents. By the end of it, you're not just listening to an album, you're fully inside of it. That's what makes this track so unforgettable. It's more than a song, it's an experience. The Less I Know The Better is one of those songs that grabs you from the first second and doesn't let go. A big part of what makes it so catchy is the bass line. It's funky, smooth, and instantly memorable. The groove just locks you in and gives this track an irresistible rhythm that makes you want to move. And funnily enough, apparently it was written in only 15 minutes. Kevin Parker layers that groove with crisp drums, dreamy guitar chords, and his signature airy vocals, creating a sound that feels laid back but emotionally charged at the same time. Even if you're not paying close attention to the lyrics, the sound alone is enough to pull you in. But what makes the song even more powerful is the contrast between the upbeat vibe and the sad, jealous lyrics. It's a breakup song at its core, telling the story of someone that's heartbroken as they watch the person they love move on with someone else. Trevor in this case. The contrast between the dancey sound and the emotional subject matter hits in a way that makes you feel oddly relatable. You might be sad, but you're still dancing. That duality is what gives the song so much staying power. It's fun, it's emotional, and it sticks with you long after it ends. When I hear the song, the first thing I think of is David Dobrik's Coachella vlog, and it just makes me think of being in the sun with friends getting up to mischief. It's the kind of song you'd love in a montage of your antics from your 20s. And then there's Eventually, which is slower and more emotional. The soft synths and dreamy sounds match the lyrics about letting someone go even though it hurts. It builds up slowly, and when the beat drops, it just hits you right in the feelings. Because Currents blends so many styles, psychedelic rock, pop, R&B and electronic, it feels both fresh and timeless. That's why it's gaining new fans every year. Since releasing this album, Kevin Parker, also known as Tame Impala, has worked with many big artists. You might know him for his collaborations with Rihanna, The Weeknd, Dua Lipa and Lady Gaga. But for a lot of people, the first time they heard his sound was through his work on Travis Scott's 2018 album Astroworld, where he co-produced and featured on the song Skeletons. Kevin Parker's dreamy, psychedelic psychedelic style blended with Travis Scott's hip-hop sound in a way that felt fresh and exciting. Skeletons, which also featured The Weeknd and Pharrell, stood out with its smooth, layered production and spacey vibe. It showed a lot of hip-hop fans a new kind of sound they hadn't really heard before. What made this work so well is that it didn't feel like Parker had to change who he was. His music fit naturally with Travis Scott's style. Instead of sounding totally different, he added his signature touch, helping create one of the most memorable moments on Astroworld. This made more people curious about his solo work as Tame Impala. After hearing Kevin Parker's sound on a track like Skeletons, a lot of hip-hop fans might have been curious enough to check out Currents, and once they did, it was easy to get hooked. The album's smooth, bass-heavy production and emotional depth make it super easy to enjoy, even if you don't normally listen to rock or electronic music. Tracks like The Less I Know The Better have a groove and vibe that feel familiar to hip-hop listeners, while still offering something totally new. More on that song later. It's the kind of album that pulls you in and makes you want to explore more music like it. For a lot of people, me included, Currents was a starting point for discovering new types of music. Kevin Parker mixes sounds from so many different genres like psychedelic rock, pop, R&B and electronic music, which might make you curious about other artists and styles. After hearing and loving Currents, I went on to explore other bands like Pink Floyd or the Beatles, or more modern artists like MGMT and Grimes, who also make creative, dreamy music. Because Currents sounds both old and new at the same time, it helps you to enjoy music you may not have tried before, but it's still full of unique and interesting parts. This makes it perfect for anyone wanting to try something different. For many fans, Currents is the album that opened the door to a whole new world of music. But it's not just the music that is so captivating. This album uses a topic which many of the best albums have done before. Breakup albums are often some of the most powerful and enjoyable to listen to because they're full of raw emotion and honesty. When someone shares something as personal and painful as a breakup, it brings out a level of vulnerability that's easy for you to connect with. Even if you haven't gone through the exact same thing, the feelings of heartbreak, change and personal growth are so universal that they still hit home. Sometimes it feels comforting to hear when someone else expresses what you've been feeling but couldn't quite say out loud. What makes breakup albums even more powerful is the range of emotions they explore. It's not just sadness, you'll hear anger, hope, regret, relief, nostalgia, sometimes all in one song. That emotional roller coaster can feel satisfying because it mirrors what real life is like. The best breakup albums don't just tell the story of losing someone, they show what it's like to find yourself again. And when you hear that journey through music, it can make you feel like you've been through it alongside the artist. That's the kind of connection that makes you want to keep coming back. Currents by Tame Impala is one of those albums that hits especially hard because of how well it captures the feeling of a breakup. But it's not only about ending a relationship, it's about letting go of any part of your life that no longer fits who you are. Kevin Parker made Currents to express the process of personal change. That's why the album can speak to you whether you're going through a big breakup, big life change, or just figuring yourself out. Right from the start, Let It Happen shows you what the album's about. With its looping sounds and lyrics about accepting change, it sets the tone. It feels like you're being pulled into a wave of sound that you can't stop. And that's kind of the point. Letting go isn't easy, but sometimes it's necessary. That message becomes even clearer in Eventually, where Kevin sings about ending a relationship not out of anger, but because it's the right thing to do. The music swells in emotion, making you feel like the weight of that choice. Then you get to The Less I Know The Better, which sounds like a dance track, but it's really about jealousy and heartbreak. The contrast between the fun sound and the sad lyrics makes the song even more powerful. You might relate to pretending everything's fine on the outside while you're hurting inside. I know I've been there. That's something a lot of people go through, and Currents captures it in a way that makes that feel real. What makes Currents stand out from other breakup albums is how it doesn't follow the usual pattern. It's not full of slow songs or angry rants. Instead, it looks at emotional growth, the messy in-between stages where you're unsure of who you are or where you're going. It talks about loneliness, ego, anxiety, and how weird it can feel to start over. And that's what makes the album so relatable. It doesn't just help you get over something, it helps you grow from it. As time goes on, the songs on Currents might mean something new to you. Maybe the first time you hear it, you're in the middle of a breakup, but years later, you might hear those same songs and think about how far you've come. The music stays the same, but the way you understand it keeps changing. That's why Currents never really gets old. In the end, Currents is more than just an album. It's a reminder that even though change is scary, it's also how you grow. When you listen to it, you're reminded that you're not the only one going through it. Whether you're 17 or 35, the message still hits. It's okay to let go and start fresh, and that's what makes Currents a favourite for so many people year after year. Album artwork plays a huge role in shaping how you experience music. Before you hear a single note, the cover gives you a feeling or idea of what the album might be about. A strong album cover can instantly grab your attention, set the mood, and help tell the story behind the songs. It's often your first impression of the music, and when done well, it sticks in your memory just like the songs do. Think of iconic covers like Dark Side of the Moon or Nevermind. They're just as famous as the albums themselves. Great album artwork also adds the identity of the artist. It gives you something visual to connect with and helps create a full experience. Not just something you need to listen to, but something you feel part of. For collectors, especially with vinyl or physical copies, the artwork becomes part of the reason you want to own it. It feels personal. In the digital age where everything is streamed, eye-catching artwork still helps an album stand out in a crowded space, drawing you in and making the music more memorable. The album cover of Currents has played a big role in why the album is still so loved today. Designed by artist Robert Beatty, the cover shows a silver ball being pulled through a colourful wavy lines. It's based on a science idea called vortex shedding, but more simply it's meant to show movement, change, and the feeling of being caught up in emotions, all the things the album's about. The cover works so well because it shows the mood of the music without needing any words. Just like the songs mix calm and chaos, the artwork shows something smooth cutting through something looking messy. It looks trippy and dreamlike, which fits the sound of songs like Let It Happen and Eventually. The design is bold and different, which makes it easy to remember. It's been printed on posters, t-shirts and vinyl all over the world. Like the covers of Dark Side of the Moon or Unknown Pleasures, it's a powerful image that fans recognise right away. For people who haven't heard the album yet, the artwork makes them want to check it out. That's helped Currents stay popular and reach new listeners over the years. Currents became everyone's favourite albums because it speaks to something we all go through: change. With its mix of emotional lyrics, dreamy production and genre blending sounds, it connects with people in a deep, personal way. Whether you're going through a breakup, growing into a new version of yourself, or just trying to figure life out, Currents feels like it understands you. Add to that its iconic artwork, timeless songs, and Kevin Parker's unique vision, and you get an album that people don't just like, they carry with them. That's what makes Currents more than just music. It's a feeling that sticks with you.